Welcome back to Under Oath. Today we've got actor and horror genre icon Michael Berryman from movies such as The Hills Have Eyes and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Michael, can you hear me?
I hear you about 8 out of 10.
Close enough. We'll go with that. You've been knocking out movies since the '70s, and I always like to ask an actor this: what movie or production would you like to be remembered for?
Oh boy, good question. I would like to be remembered for my episode in the X-Files season 3 when I play Owen Jarvis. Instead of a bad guy, scary guy, I'm a guardian angel, and I protect a boy from evil entities. That's kind of how I roll in real life. As far as the roles we play in scary movies, it's our job to be terrifying, challenging, and aggressive so that the hero can rise to the occasion. And sometimes they don't think that they can make it, but sometimes they do.
It's strange when you bring that up because I was just reading something about Henry Winkler, how he, for 9, 10 years was in fear that he was stereotyped for being the Fonz. Now, you've done a ridiculous amount of horror. I mean, I guess it's a gift when you don't have to do something that people normally know you for.
It is. I've been very blessed. I like comedy. I like action. Well, in the movie Cut and Run, Rogero Deodato's movie down that we filmed in the Amazon, that was a real treat. Willie Ames, Lisa Blount, Karen Black, etc., Richard Lynch. I've got to work with incredibly talented people. But I had a chance to be in the lungs of the earth. I kind of like in the movie The Emerald Forest, which is a great film. To be able to appreciate the gifts that we have on this Class 9 blue planet, I think is always a time well spent to remind people that from dust to dust we are all Earth. Until they turn us all into cookies and do AI, but that's another conversation. I've done comedy in Weird Science. That was delightful. At the end of the movie Weird Science, I make a reference to God bless, and that is a shout out to a gentleman that I met when I was very young. We used to go to Red Skelton's house. Richard Skelton was in my grammar school class, and we would read comic books together, and Red would come in and hang out with us. And he was a delightful gentleman. One day the studio said, you can't say God bless. He says, what's the name of the show? And he goes, oh, it's the Red Skelton Show. Never mind. But he was classy, you see. I think humanity rising is what I would like to be remembered for. If you take your finger and point your thumb toward the ceiling, take your pointer finger and extend it straight out. If you look at your hand, there's 3 fingers pointing back to you. So I think all actions derive from the thumb, which is inspiration from above, hopefully. And then our actions pointing out pay us 3 times in return. So be careful and be thoughtful about your actions and why you're doing them. And we can all make this world a little better place for our children.
I have the opportunity to talk to a ridiculous amount of people and to get their takes on the world. And, you have done an unbelievable amount. I mean, your body of work is so fascinating and ridiculous at the same time. And I wonder, when you study the classic, horror actors like Lon Chaney, Boris Karloff, was there any respect or any belief when you thought about it? You go, wow, those were amazing people. I hope to be able to hold their water someday.
Well, I became pretty good. I got a chance to spend time with Sarah Karloff, and she showed me pictures and told me stories how her father would have, a Bela Lugosi and other actors come over and hang out, and she said they were just delightful, and there is a difference between the persona that we project and the person that we are and that we choose to be and remain. So there's a lesson to be learned, and I think it's quite valuable.
When I think about actors like that and I think about the way movies have gone and how we become so desensitized that we just have to go so far out there to scare us. I mean, is there any, how can I say it? I don't want to call it a regret, but is there any nostalgia towards the past, the way we used to do horror?
Yes, that's a great question. Um, the shock the monkey and push the envelope, I think, is a more of a business decision than excellent creative writing. And people, it's a business. You have investors. You have a time period where actors are available, and you want to get out and be seen. You want people to be able to go to the theater. I miss the ma and pa, the drive-ins. There is a resurgence across the country of revamping drive-in theaters. That whole experience, it's a communal. It's almost a village type of experience. The independent film festivals, I love going to them. I'm usually signing and meeting and talking to the public, but I would like to go to them and to see every movie I could. I highly encourage people to study their writing skills and how to tell a story. Of course, it's totally valid for people to do, sort of a copycat or a very simple scenario that works, more of a mechanism, and it's okay. But I always seek for the higher ground where there's a little more emotional content involved in each of the characters and the reasons why they do things. I think is more intriguing than just here's the monster, kill the monster, so and so survived. So I'd say they're all valid, um, but we tend to choose that which serves our needs more than the others.
Now, you've had the opportunity to do a ridiculous amount of horror. And I guess, I always wonder, when you're in that industry and you've done so many movies, and I know this is probably a question you get asked all the time. Does there anything that really scares you? What is your phobias? What is your issue where you go, yeah, I don't like that?
Well, I'm not a big fan of not a big fan of spiders. When I was in the Amazon, the spiders were like as big as your head. Electric eels were kind of scary. But what terrifies me, of course, is the ignorance of people in power and the what is that famous quote? The indifference of I can't think indifference of intention. Why do you do what you do? Okay, real simple. Joe Dante did a movie called Matinee, and the girl in class gets in trouble because when they say duck and cover to practice surviving a nuclear attack, she gives a lecture to the class and the teacher how it won't protect you. Now, you see, the reason I look the way I do and the medical reasons I've had and the craniectomy I had, I cover in my memoir. It's called It's All Good. Amazon, hardback, paperback, Kindle. It's all good. And I tell the story from my earliest memory, which is I was born after my father, Sloan Berryman, a brain surgeon for the Marine Corps, went to Nagasaki and Hiroshima, ground zero after the bomb. I have pictures of vaporized humans that are shadows and cement walls. I do not like war. I was born premature because of the radiation exposure. And yes, I tell the story how I survived a craniectomy and went on through my life. And there are many, many, many dark nights of the soul where I didn't have a clue how my life would proceed in the future. I used to get, I'd have medical issues. I'd have to stop. When I was a chef, I had to stop. I had to get out of the kitchen. I can't anticipate heat. It goes on and on. But you know what? Every day we have a challenge. And it's important to recognize our strengths and recognize our opportunities to make an intelligent decision. Not everything should be emotional. So back to Shock the Monkey, I don't I don't cotton to propaganda, so to speak. I believe we should idle down. The scariest thing for me, of course, is nuclear proliferation, the global corporate mechanism which is in place. I was a legal courier in Los Angeles in the 1980s, And I saw maps of the world with no countries. They all had the same maps. I've been to Halliburton, Florida, Connecticut, Monsanto, and various other places. And we took time-sensitive documents to where they had to be. And we had a good reputation for doing the job. But I had many conversations with the good and the bad billionaires, and they basically all agree that they're the ones that they sell weapons to both sides of every conflict. They start conflicts. Um, there are no countries, states, or provinces on these maps. Corporate global zones of control. To me, that's the most terrifying. Why? Because they have children. You have children. Friends of theirs want a future for their children, and they deserve to have a safe environment. I don't want. We don't need the matrix. AI, we're on strike right now because they want to turn us into AI. No, go back to a classic. Where are these cautionary tales? Well, I remember one with Edward G. Robinson. It was his last film. He was dying. He said, no, I have to make this film. It was called Silent Green. If you haven't seen Silent Green, check it out because it speaks toward the future. I mean, Planet of the Apes, you name it. We as artists get a chance to peek behind the curtain for the benefit of all. And that's what I enjoy most, aside from making wonderful friendships. And that's very important also.
Now, you just brought up, your surgeries as a child, the things you went through. I had some interesting siblings who had some fantastic forms of bullying me as a kid. They were significantly older than me, and I carried, my mechanisms to how I dealt with that. I had to be funnier. I had to be, let's just say, on a soapbox all the time, trying to, how can I say it, make myself feel better. What mechanisms did you adopt as a kid?
Oh, that's a good question. And I mentioned this in my memoir. It's all good. I had a very short fuse when I was young. I didn't have a skill set and I'm talking young, like 9 years old, etc. I had a very good friend named Billy Hopkins, and he had polio, and he had metal braces on his legs, and he walked like a clinky robot. And I remember one day a child tripped him, and when he fell, I'm helping him up, and the kid is laughing and pointing his finger. And Billy had he didn't yell or scream, and I just helped him up, and he went on with his day-to-day life. I was amazed at his sensibility to be able to control it. Me, somebody made fun of me, I would be in their face, but I would go to their parents. Let's say I'm at the grocery store and say, yeah, look at that freak, whatever. It happens. And there are many people that have situations where they're not appreciated. People read the book on its cover and they just, want to be mean. And I would tell the parents, I said, this is your fault. You're raising this child and there's no control. So look at this behavior. You're a bad parent. I'm 9 years old. I'm 10 years old. And my parents would go, Michael, you have to stop doing that. No, I will never stop doing that. I have a better vocabulary now at 75 years old, but if you can't be kind and helpful, then don't open your mouth. I've been on situations where there's a bad accident, and I got off my motorcycle. I'm helping triage. I had some Red Cross training, and a lot of times people are terrified. They don't know what to do. So I would look them in the mirror. I was an Eagle Scout. Got us in the side, and I'd say, you, look me in the eye. Can you help me? Yes? Okay, here. Hi, what's your name? Sit down. Hold this person like this. You see they're having difficulty breathing? We tilt their head to the left a little bit. You hear the gurgling go away? Okay. If you have any problems, shout out. And then I go to the next person. And in those situations, it's humanity. It's people helping people. You do what you can is a motto of mine. I know why you're doing it, but in a situation that is very challenging and crisis, it's really easy for me to step right up and deal with the consequences later.
When I hear you tell those stories and I hear you, the things you've done in your life and everything else like that, where do you go when you need peace? I mean, we all
Oh,
suffer.
great question. Thank you for that question. Well, I go out in nature. There's a wonderful scene in the movie with Robert Redford when it's after he's now the mountain man and he meets some sodbusters and he goes, I've been to a city once. Um, I go to nature. I would go body surfing or scuba diving. Like my dear friend Roddy Piper, the wrestler, he bought some property in Oregon, and in the middle of the property is a mountain. And he would tell me every morning he would go up to the top of his mountain, the dogs would follow, and he would sit and watch the sunrise and just thank the boss upstairs for allowing him to have that wonderful opportunity to raise his family there. Now, last week I was at a convention and I met the wrestler Sergeant Slaughter, and I mentioned Roddy Piper, and he actually got to go to Roddy's house on a few occasions, and he described the exact same situation. So that's where I go. I go to where it's beautiful. This is a wonderful blue planet. It breaks my heart when I just see the non-appreciation of what we have. I don't want to live in the future like the Matrix. I don't want to. I don't appreciate AI. All this technology is control. I'm a country boy from way back. I can chop firewood. I can climb trees. I can do all of that, and I have. But the natural world is where I find solace and grace. If I could, I would like to be at the bottom of Angel Falls in South America. It's hard to get to. You got a lot of jungle to trim traverse. But I've heard stories where the waterfall falls for over 1 mile. And I've talked to doctors about this too because I've had a lot of medical situations. And some people have been miraculously, not say cured, but the oxygen content, the energy at that particular spot. There are spots on the planet that are very, very positively charged. And you want to have a little bit of that in your soul on a day-to-day basis because it helps keep you grounded.
Well, I
It
can agree
really
with
does.
that.
I see people at airports, and I swear that everybody's looking at their hand. Everybody's texting. Nobody's paying attention. And I swear they're texting to the person right next to them. So we need to see that little spark of God. I'll use the word spirit in all of us. And that would be a good start.
Well, I really appreciate that, Michael. We have about a minute left. Could you please tell me where people could reach you so they can learn about your future events, your books, your movies?
Yes, I have one social media. If you go to Facebook, and you'll see a picture of a cuckoo's nest and then a little insert from Weird Science. That's my page. I go to it every day. And I apologize. I don't know how to get more than 5,000 friends. So I've got 5,000 friends and 1,500 requests. I don't know how to go above 5,000. And all the messages that you send, dear listeners, thank you. I try to answer them all. And that's pretty much how you can reach me. I would say the best way to reach me, we go to Amazon and pick up my memoir. It's all good because then you will have a shared experience of what my life was, how it started, and where I am today. And there'll be bits and pieces of your own life in that when you read it. It'll reveal to you our common humanity. And to me, that's the most important.
Well, I can't tell you how great it was talking to you, Michael. Also, a little advice: you can change your page into a fan page if you like, and it'll be unlimited. But I'd talk to somebody younger the same way I do. I appreciate it, Michael.
Oh, okay. I will talk to my geek about that.
There you go.
You.
Be well, my friend.
All right. Have a safe day, brother.